Viltrox recently reached out to me to test their new 35mm f-stop 1.8 full-frame autofocus lens, and for this review we'll be looking at images taken with the Viltrox 35mm f-stop 1.8 on the Sony A7iii. So what is it like for photos and even video, and who should consider getting one of these little lenses? Well, hopefully we will help you answer some of those questions in today's video, so let's go. Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Kai, and as just mentioned, Viltrox very kindly sent me this lens. But as always, all thoughts and opinions of it contained in this video are that of my own, and this is a totally independent review. So with that out of the way, what exactly have Viltrox conjured up for us here? First of all, let's run down the specs. You have a 35mm lens with an aperture range of f-stop 1.8 to f-stop 16, 10 elements in 8 groups, multi-coated coatings, a minimum focus distance of 40 centimeters, a filter thread of 55mm, and a weight of around 370 grams. Now, looking at the ergonomics of this lens, and like a lot of Viltrox products, you can tell that Viltrox have spent a lot of time crafting this little lens. It feels solid in your hands, it has a nice weight to it, very robust, nice housing. You do have a manual ring that controls the aperture, but you can set it to auto mode. You get a very nice smooth movement on this focus ring. Saying that though, it's not stated as being weather sealed, so that's just a caution for you when using it out in the elements. Also, it comes with this lens hood here, which does feel quite cheap and plasticky when compared to the quality of the lens body. Unfortunately, it doesn't have image stabilization, but it works pretty well with the inbuilt stabilization of the A7iii, and also it doesn't really seem to affect your video very much when shooting at 120 frames per second anyway. Unlike all modern Viltrox lenses, you have a USB input down here to allow you to update the firmware of the lens. So what exactly are the photos like on this Viltrox 35mm f-stop 1.8 E-mount lens? Well, we took it out for a particularly sunny day of photos without an ND filter to see how it would cope in some challenging bright light. So this photo is a great example of how the Viltrox 35mm 1.8 helps us to retain a lot of information in our pictures when we underexposed our shots. Here is the raw image, and with some tweaking in Photoshop, we can really pull out the details from the shadows. The bright sunlight definitely wasn't ideal, but we still retain a lot of information with great contrast and color, allowing us to salvage a lot of these photos. And this is a great place to mention that if you haven't done so already, go and add yourself to the KaiCreative Facebook and Instagram accounts to stay up to date with all of our creative happenings. Optically speaking, this lens is fantastic. There is a slight amount of distortion, and you will notice a little bit of vignetting. It's not very significant, it's a fine feathered vignette, not aggressive as some lenses, and it definitely renders some very high quality images that you would expect from some of the bigger, more expensive brands. When it comes to video, I didn't really notice any hunting or loss of focus when in front of the camera, and also I was very pleased with my focus accuracy when shooting stills. I found it struggled slightly at f-stop 1.8, but closing the aperture up to about f-stop 4 really did help. And also when I was shooting manually with the focus peaking lines of the A7iii, as well as the additional zoom in on manual focus functionality, that also really helped me to get sharp focus around the eyes. So the big question is, how much of a difference is there between the Viltrox lens and native Sony glass? Well, first of all, you have the cost, and this is probably a big factor for many of you. The Viltrox 35mm f-stop 1.8 is almost half the cost of the Sony 35mm f-stop 1.8 equivalent. So if you are looking to save a little bit of cash on a 35mm with a 1.8 aperture, then the Viltrox might be the way to go, particularly if you're investing in a series of lenses. However, if you are looking to shoot professionally with a 35mm 1.8, I would probably go with the Sony native glass, just because the autofocus is a little more responsive, images are a little bit sharper and clearer, and really you should expect that, as they are built for those who created the camera for the camera specifically. But saying that, my experience with Viltrox seems to be getting better and better every time I try one of their products. In fact, I've done several reviews now for different Viltrox lenses, and they've proven to be increasingly reliable when using them for photography, and they're getting better and better for video production too. So what do you guys think of the Viltrox 35mm f/1.8 lens? Are you interested in getting one, or are you looking at investing in something else? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Also, if you found today's video useful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that little bell for notifications too. So that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. All that I've got left to say is stay creative, stay safe, imagine, implement, and inspire, and I will catch you next time on KaiCreative.